What do you think at first was the hardest thing about accepting? Like, why was it so hard for you to accept at first?
Because then I couldn't control where my life was going. I couldn't control going to work, coming home, taking care of my family. Now I had to let somebody else take care of my family. I had to let somebody else do my job. That's very difficult for me to let go.
I can imagine,
have control.
especially being a mom and, you know, always being the caregiver for the family, for the kids, for everybody.
Right.
And now it's like the role switch.
Yes, yeah.
I love that you mentioned being an advocate for your own health, because I think that's super important. And like with your story, if you wouldn't have said, nope, get me to another doctor, whatever the case is, who knows where you would be today.
Right.
But you know, knew that you felt something different. You
Right.
did what you had to do. When they diagnosed you, I mean, it was already stage 3.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that's huge, and I'm sure that's what saved your life.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And it's funny because now when I see that doctor, I get whatever I want, whatever I need, you know. And I just hope it shows her not to be quick to judge,
Yeah,
you know, listen to what your patients are saying. You know, patients know their bodies.
for sure.
So that's what I hope other doctors and people just be advocate, and doctors pay attention to your patients.
Yeah, don't
So.
just write them off because it's something that you typically see or
Right.
whatever, because you never know what the case could be.
Exactly.
Welcome to Beyond the Scale, the show where everyday heroes share their stories on how they turn their lives around for the healthier. I'm Coach Brittany, and today I have a special guest, Virginia Koury. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
So you're all the way from Fountain Valley
Yes.
Fit Body Boot Camp.
Yep.
I appreciate you coming out and being on the show today.
Sure, thanks.
Before we get started,
Yes.
we like to play a little game on this show
Okay.
called a rapid fire.
Okay.
Are you ready to play?
I think so.
Okay, so basically I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you just answer the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Okay? So here we go. What is your spirit animal?
Fox.
Okay. If you could go anywhere in the world right now, where would you go?
Probably Oklahoma.
Okay. What's your favorite movie?
Dance with Wolves.
Fox, Wolves. Okay, I see a trend here. Who's your support system?
My kids.
What is your favorite food?
Oh my gosh. Chocolate.
Okay. What has been your biggest accomplishment?
Conquering cancer.
That's definitely a big accomplishment.
Yep.
What do you like to do for fun?
Golf.
Okay. And lastly, what is your life motto?
If I can do it, anyone could do it.
There we go. I like it. So that concludes Rapid Fire. You did an awesome job. Thanks
Okay.
for playing.
Sure.
So I want to talk about your biggest accomplishment was overcoming cancer. When were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed April 2012 with the colorectal cancer, stage 3. So, you know, when you get that diagnosis, you don't know what to do. But my first response was, okay, God, here we go. It's you and me. So we're going to do this.
Okay. Now, what was life like before you were diagnosed?
Oh, I was working, had at that time 2 kids, teenage kids, and just working and working out and trying to stay healthy. You know, because my weight fluctuates. It's always fluctuated, so I'm always trying to find new ways to work out, new ways to eat. And so, but life was just pretty basic. I was just working and being a mom, a single mom at the time. So then I got married in 2009.
Okay.
So I had to time it there. No, I'm sorry, it's 2006.
2006?
Yeah.
Okay.
My daughter was born in 2007. So I gave birth to my 3rd daughter at the age of 42.
Wow.
Yeah. So that has been an inspiration myself for her being born, first being born healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I always knew she was here for a reason. Didn't know what that reason was until I got cancer.
And how many years from after she was born were you diagnosed?
She was born in 2007, so 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was 4
Okay.
years old.
Got it.
So she was my reason to fight. So, yeah.
Okay. Now you said before you were diagnosed, you were working out. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you say your fitness and health was?
Um, it varied. So there were times it was at a 3, and then there were times where I was at a 5, or I was at my peak. So
Okay.
I did a show or a program called P90X, which took me to another level, which I really enjoyed. So I did that for a long while, just because I liked the results I saw. So that kept me going. I was thinking about being a Beachbody coach. I was trying to figure out ways to kind of incorporate that in my everyday life. And then I got pregnant. Then it kind of changed, the way things were going in my life.
Yeah,
So
change the path a little
yeah,
bit.
exactly. So
Okay.
it was a good path. I enjoy my daughter. She's a blessing. I mean, I don't know what I would have done without her. So anyway, so my path changed. I gave birth, healthy daughter, which was accomplishment for being 42, because I was under a lot of medical attention, just because of my age. So, but then after she was born, then I got to stay home with her for at least 2 years before.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that was the goal, was to stay home with her for 5 years. But then the recession hit. My husband lost his job. So then I had to go back to work. So that's when I re-entered the workforce.
Okay.
So
And now, what led you to getting diagnosed with cancer? Did you have any signs or symptoms ahead of time that led you to the doctor?
Blood in my stool.
Oh, okay.
That was the thing that triggered it. And then I just went, okay, there's cancer.
So you knew right off the
Yeah.
bat, you had a feeling that's what it was?
Yeah, and it's funny because I had a feeling before then, but because you know your own body.
Yeah, if you
So,
pay attention,
yeah,
you tapped in. For
Exactly.
sure.
So then I went to the doctor, and sure enough, it was cancer. So they immediately got me into CAT scan, make sure it hasn't spread. But then they said for sure, they wanted to make sure it hadn't spread to my lymph nodes, so they took me in to do like a colonoscopy type thing, and that's when they staged it, and that's when they said, okay, you're stage 3. It doesn't look like it has spread anywhere, so we're going to refer you to these doctors, so they're going to put you on a plan. And within a week, I saw my oncologist.
Oh.
They worked out a plan for me, and then the chemo, then the radiation first for 6 weeks, and then surgery, and then I had to have they call it an elastomy bag. So I had one of those for about 9 months, and that was interesting to have. You don't really appreciate your whole system until you have to use something else. And so there was that for 9 months, and then so that was the plan. And then so they went forward with the plan. I had chemo and radiation on 1 week, off a week for 6 weeks, rest for about a month, and then I had surgery. And then after surgery, I had to adjust my life with the elastomy bag. And they call it an elastomy bag versus a colostomy bag just because it's not permanent.
Oh, okay.
So I guess there's a way they reroute you, how they do that. So
Yeah.
So so that's pretty much my whole.
Everything you had to go through during this hard time. I mean, so take me back to you already had an idea that you had the cancer, but you go to the doctor and it gets confirmed. What was the first thing that went through your head? What did you feel like in that moment?
Well, let me take it back to the primary care who I went and saw before the actual diagnosis, because I want to tell people they have to be their own advocate for their own health.
Absolutely.
Because I went to my primary care first, and they said it was just hemorrhoids, bleeding hemorrhoids, and it wasn't. I knew better, so I told, just give me the name of a specialist. Because I have PPO insurance, so I went to the specialist, and he said, no, you have cancer. I'm like, I thought so. So when I first got the diagnosis, it was, like I said, okay, God, it's you and me. But then after that, it was like, I don't have time for cancer. I don't have time to sit for hours for chemo. I don't have time for radiation. I don't have time. I'm a mother of a new baby, a 4-year-old, and I'm working full-time, so I don't have time. So you just have to to, I don't know, train yourself or just accept it. I guess that's the first key, is to accept your diagnosis, accept that you do have cancer so you can do what it needs to get done to cure it, so you can move on. So that was kind of hard for me to accept
To
it.
accept.
Yeah, but that just meant I had to let go. I couldn't be in control. So once you learn to let go and let God, it became easier to deal with.
What do you think at first was the hardest thing about accepting? Like, why was it so hard for you to accept at first?
Because then I couldn't control where my life was going. I couldn't control going to work, coming home, taking care of my family. Now I had to let somebody else take care of my family. I had to let somebody else do my job. That's very difficult for me to let go.
I can
to
imagine,
have control.
especially being a mom and, you know, always being the caregiver for the family, for the kids, for everybody.
Right.
And now it's like the roles switch.
Yes, yeah.
I love that you mentioned being an advocate for your own health, because I think that's super important. And like with your story, if you wouldn't have said, nope, get me to another doctor, whatever the case is, who knows where you would be today.
Right.
But you know, knew that you felt something different. You
Right.
did what you had to do. When they diagnosed you, I mean, it was already stage 3.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that's huge, and I'm sure that's what saved your life.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And it's funny because now when I see that doctor, I get whatever I want, whatever I need, you know. And I just hope it shows her not to be quick to judge.
Yeah,
You know, listen to what your patients are saying. You know, patients know their bodies.
for sure.
So that's what I hope other doctors and people, just be an advocate, and doctors pay attention to your patients.
Yeah, don't
So.
just write them off because it's something that you typically see or
Right.
whatever, because you never know what the case could be.
Exactly. Exactly.
So going through this whole time, you're fighting through everything. You do your radiation and everything, and then it's time for surgery. Did you have any fear, or were you just like ready to go into surgery? What was that like?
Actually, so right before surgery, they went in to do like a scope, and they see how the tumor was. Tumor shrunk, it was gone. So I went, oh, then I don't need surgery. And they're like, well, you can not have it, but you should, because cancer cells could be in the tissue. I'm like, well, isn't that what the next round of chemo is supposed to get? And they're like, yeah, technically, but in case it misses it, then, you know, it's good to have the surgery. So I went back and forth with that decision. You know, because you always try to not have surgery.
Right.
So, but this is the one time where I said fear kind of made a decision for me. I had the surgery. And what they did is, without sounding kind of gross, but they removed my rectum, and they sliced my large intestines away from the wall and basically just pulled it down. And so now I don't have an important part down there to help regulate with, you know, things. But I had made the decision to have it still, because I was fearful of it. It turns out that once you have the surgery, the doctor took my insides and had the pathology, and they tested it. And the good thing I found out about it is the cancer had not spread anywhere. It didn't spread to my lymph nodes. It didn't spread anywhere. So that was the best part. But the second part was having to live now, first 9 months with a ileostomy bag, and then after that, having to readjust your food intake and how much food you can eat, the fiber you can eat, because, you know, you're supposed to have fiber,
Right.
but too much fiber for someone in my condition can be detrimental. So you just have to learn and adjust how to eat, and how to, when to eat, what time to eat, what to eat, and then make sure you are familiar with your surroundings.
So, I mean, I know this was such a tough fight for you, and, you know, you made it through. Who was like your support system? I know you mentioned your kids earlier. Along with your kids, who else was part of the support that helped you fight through this and keep your motivation to keep going?
You know, I still have to say my kids, because I have I have 3 kids. My middle child, she lives in San Diego. She actually gave up her job from a full-time manager to just going part-time and coming up every weekend to take care of me. Well, that was a big to-do for me. My older daughter, who lives with me, she pretty much took care of me too, like when my other daughter couldn't be there. So, and then of course my little 4-year-old at the time, she was just my everyday reminder that I had to fight. I had friends who supported me, but they were busy. And when you mention cancer to people, even if they're your friends, it's an adjustment. It kind of scares people away, and they think they don't want to be in your way, but you really want them to be there because you really want to talk to someone. You really want to, even just to cry to someone, you want that. So it was difficult to say that I had somebody else besides my kids to be my support system. My work was very good, on a financial level.
Okay.
Where they let me keep my job.
That's good.
I was able to go in on the weeks I was not doing chemo. So I worked from home a lot. So they were a good support system financially to make sure that there was still money coming into my family because my husband was laid off, so he wasn't bringing anything.
And that would have just created even more stress
Yes.
for you. So I feel like that's such a blessing for you.
Yes, it was. It was a total blessing because, and the doctors, I saw lots of doctors, but the two that were very inspirational, I would say inspiration to me was my oncologist, one, because he would tell me, when I would go off to the dark side and I say, what if this happens and what if this, he's like, that's not going to happen, don't worry about it. And if it does, we have a plan, but we're not going to talk about that alternative plan because you're going to get healthy.
Yeah.
So he would bring me back from the dark side. I call it the dark side.
That's good because human nature, I mean, we automatically tend to go towards worst case scenarios. And we got to make sure we get ourselves out of that to keep us in a positive mindset. And
exactly.
All that, so.
Exactly. And the surgeon was the same way. I had to see him regularly. He was the same way. No, you're doing great. You're doing great, Virginia. You're going to be fine. You just focus on the positives going on in your life and the fact that you're cancer-free and, because I guess your mindset does kind of predict how your body's going to react to cancer and react to chemo. And so if you have a positive attitude, you're going to fight that disease.
Yeah, if you have positive thoughts, it's going to create, different things inside of you that are, like you said, fight. So it helps your body fight the disease off. Even if it's something as, well, thoughts are powerful, but some people think it's just your thoughts, but they really do play a big role.
They do, they really do. Yeah.
So how long have you been cancer-free for now?
6.5 years.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
I'm so happy that you're on this side of it.
Thank you, me too. Me too.
So do you find yourself always in a positive mindset now, or do you ever struggle with, dealing with, everything that you've been through? And obviously it still affects your life today, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I stay positive. There are times when I don't. Finding Xenia and Sam and the boot camp was a positive. So while I was going through cancer, I was trying to stay working out. And like I said, I always try to find new ways to work out and stuff. So the ways that helped me is, and I found the boot camp really helped me stay positive. And the support system there is awesome. So, and then I struggle sometimes with work. Sometimes I have a job that's very demanding of my time. So it's very, very difficult for me to find some time to myself. So, and stress. So I'm very busy all the time, so I have to watch my stress level because the stress can actually bring back the cancer. So I look for ways to fight the stress. So working out gives me time or helps me fight that stress. Eating healthier. When I joined boot camp, they have a meal prep service. So I've joined the meal prep service. And I'm finding out not only prepping the meals, helps you lose weight, but it also is helping me deal with my struggle that I have with my missing parts for my cancer. Okay. So I don't have a lot of the issues I was having. So things are actually better with my digestive system and stuff. So things have worked that way too.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
So how did you even find Fit Body?
Oh my goodness. Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. I was telling Zinnia today that I don't even know how that even came up on my site because I live in the city of Westminster.
Okay.
And Fountain Valley is maybe out of the range for how Facebook works with the advertisement. But it showed up on my page one time and I went, boot camp.
It's just meant to be, huh?
Yeah, and I love the city of Fountain Valley anyway. So, so I went, wow, okay, maybe this is a sign. So I went with a 6-week challenge.
Okay.
And it was called a ladies' night challenge. So 6 weeks, they had a party. And I joined, and I loved it. I instantly fell in love. It was a total body workout, every workout. And they had metabolic days and strength days, which was awesome. I liked it. And then I met Sam, who's very, very, he's energetic and wants to succeed and, helps you out. And then I met Xenia, and then I was like, she's so supportive of me being at boot camp and everything. So I just fell in love. So after 6 weeks, I signed up.
So what would you say sets Fit Body apart from any other workouts or gyms that you've tried in the past?
Oh my God, the total body workout in 30 minutes.
Boom.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're busy. You didn't get out.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was it for me. So,
Okay.
and that was pretty much in and out.
And you mentioned earlier about the support system that you received when you joined Fit Body. What was it about the support system that just really, stuck with you?
Yeah. So when I first started, they had coaches that would help you with the exercises if you were struggling. So I liked that a lot because boot camp gets a lot of negative press, I think, because they don't watch your
form, posture,
thank you.
all that, yeah.
So, but that wasn't the case here. So that I liked that support part. And then I've had some injuries that really I had to modify the way I worked out. And Sam and Xenia found ways for me to still work out with my injuries. I can do low impact. I don't have to do the high impact. I had a broken wrist, and they found a way for me to do bicep curls with my injury, and I have an injury now with my leg, and they're finding ways that I can, work out. So I like where I'm at.
So nothing stops you. It's like you just keep going.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, you keep going. That's what makes you happy, what you need in your life, and
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think another misconception people get about boot camp is like, oh, it's military style.
Right.
They just yell at you and
Yes.
this and that. But
Yeah.
I'm sure you've experienced just like I have. Like boot camp is fun.
Yeah.
Like I have a
Yeah.
great time. You
Yeah.
got people high-fiving each
Yeah,
other.
exactly.
And it's just a good time. And it's good me time. You get to work out,
Yep.
get that stress out.
Yep.
All of the above.
Yep. So I'm home within, like I said, 15 minutes after I'm done.
Yeah.
And I still have energy. Or sometimes I'm tired because boot camp just kicked my butt.
Uh-huh.
But I feel good overall, and I go home and pass that on to my kids, and
Yeah.
so life is good.
You're a huge role model for your kids. I'm sure.
Oh, I hope so.
I'm
I
sure
hope
you
so.
are. I'm sure you are.
My eldest tells me that, but sometimes you don't feel it.
Sometimes you just need to be reminded
Yeah, exactly.
and look back, but I know
Yeah.
you truly are. And I know you're inspiring so many people out there right now, too.
I hope so. That's a goal.
Yeah.
Especially with the cancer and doctors, and I joined a support group at work.
Okay.
We're called Ultimate Software, so it's called Ulti Hope, which is for cancer.
Okay, so it's like within your
Yes.
company.
Mhm.
Got it.
So we're helping other people who can't come forward about cancer, who need someone to talk to. So I joined that, and little did I know that it would help me too. The more you talk about it, the easier it gets. So as you see, I'm still working on that part, but that was for 2019. My goal is to try to help others with cancer.
I like that because, like you said, you're helping others. The more you talk about it, you not only feel better, but the more you make it okay for them to talk about it, for them to accept it.
Right.
And that's huge.
Yeah.
That's a big impact you're making out there.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want people to be able to talk about it, especially in uncomfortable areas like mine is.
Right.
I think mine is very uncomfortable to talk about.
And I want to thank you for being so open about that
Thank you.
today, because I mean, come on, we got cameras in front of us and all
Right.
this, but you're still being open and honest and like, this is what it is. And that's going to go a long way.
I hope so. Thank you.
It will.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about food real quick. What
Okay.
are some of the foods that you find when you intake, they work for you, that help you keep your energy up, help you work out? What are some of those foods for you?
You know, I'm liking spaghetti squash. It's not as difficult to cook as one might think.
Yeah, because when I think about it, I'm like, oh man, that's
Yeah.
tough.
The only thing that's hard is cutting it open, but you know, I found ways around that too. But spaghetti squash, chicken, and then I'm finding out with the meal prep service, I'm liking chicken has helped me. The vegetables, any kind of vegetable. I love vegetables, so my favorites are like Brussels sprouts for good iron, the greens, you know, asparagus, zucchini.
Did you like that type of stuff before?
I did.
Okay.
I've always been a
Okay.
eater like that. I like that kind of stuff, but I just never proportioned it. So now I've learned the portions, and even potatoes. I used to stay away from potatoes, but now I like potatoes. I still don't want the rice.
Not a
rice
big
is
fan.
not a big fan. So I would like to try the cauliflower rice.
Oh, I've heard about that. I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard about that. People say it's great.
Yeah, because you can actually do other things with it besides the rice. You can like incorporate it in the different things. One thing I learned, so I'm Hispanic, so I like tortillas. But my daughter, she showed me this recipe with plantains. It's just plantains, avocado oil, and you mix it, and you scoop it out like from the mixer, like an ice cream scoop, and flatten it out, and you can make tortillas out of plantains.
Oh, wow.
It's so good.
We got to get that recipe from you.
These are from my daughter. It's really,
Okay.
I'll text it to you, but it's really good. It's very easy. I tried it once. I think I cooked it a little too long, but it
Okay.
still was very tasty. So if you like the plantain taste, you'll like these tortillas. And I eat them with eggs.
Okay.
You know, I still do my Hispanic thing I like to do.
Yeah, I got to try that because I love Hispanic food. Tortillas, I can't get away
Yeah,
from. So
yeah.
that'd be a good alternative for me, too.
Yes, it's very
Okay.
good because she's on an AIP diet because she has alopecia.
Oh, okay.
So she had to readjust how she eats, and which is helping me too. So
It's crazy how much food affects your health, right?
Yes.
Like, you
definitely.
literally are fueling your body, so it's so important to pay attention to what you're putting in.
Oh, heck yeah. It makes you feel so much better, too, if
Yeah.
you're eating clean.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
you pay attention to the way you feel when you eat
Yeah.
certain things, like you don't want to go back to eating the other crap.
Exactly. I stay away from fast foods. I don't do
Yeah.
fast foods anymore. So, but once in a while, I have my chocolate. Like I
you
said,
gotta
that's
have
my
that balance.
favorite.
You
Yeah,
gotta have
yeah. But overall, I still like to eat the clean stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So, Virginia, I want to know, what does living beyond the scale mean to you?
living beyond the scale means having very good emotional health. That's it.
Boom, done.
Yeah.
One sentence, that's all you needed.
Yeah, that's all I needed.
Well, I want to thank you so much again for being on today. I know, like I said before, you're going to help so many people out there. Thank you for being so open and honest about your story. Truly appreciate you and everything that you're doing out there to make a difference.
Sure.
For those of our listeners that want to join you at boot camp, where can they find you?
They can find me at Fountain Valley Fit Body Boot Camp.
Yes. Make sure you guys go work out with Virginia and Xenia and Sam and all of them. If you may not be in the Fountain Valley area, check out fitbodybootcamp.com to find a location near you and claim your 3 free workouts. Until next time.